Hey, what's going on, guys? Coach Seth here. So today is going to be a little bit different. I wanted to talk about a documentary that came out recently called The Game Changers. So I stumbled across this documentary a few weeks ago. It's on Netflix and it talks about the effects of being a vegan as an athlete. So I'm just gonna talk a little bit about that and my thoughts on that and this documentary itself. But if you're new here, my name is Seth Thomas. I'm a strength and conditioning coach for basketball. So if you're interested in taking your game to the next level, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss a single video. And as always, make sure to check the description for downloads and free programs as well. So make sure to check those out if you are interested. Okay, so I watched this documentary a few weeks ago, and honestly, whenever I first seen it and first started to digest it, I was pretty blown away by it, by some of the facts by a vegan diet. So I have only seen this once, so forgive me if I leave a couple things out. If you have seen it, make sure to jump in the comments and let me know, and we can have a little discussion about it. So the main takeaway after watching it for the first viewing, the main takeaway I had with it was that being vegan basically increases the blood flow in the body. The way that they seen it was getting rid of meat, getting rid of dairy, and sticking to a complete 100% fruits and vegetables, seeds and nuts type of diet. I'm starting to realize that it makes sense that this really isn't the case. This documentary did seem very one-sided towards being vegan, and a lot of times in the documentary they refer to the term plant-based. A plant-based diet is different from a vegan diet. So vegan completely gets rid of dairy, completely gets rid of meat, while plant-based increases the fruits and vegetables and kind of just has a balance of meats and dairies. So that's the one big thing that I would say is a little off about this documentary, is how they refer to a plant-based diet and kind of giving the impression that plant-based diet and vegan diet are the same thing, which they are not. So I kind of just looked at my diet. I ate a lot of meat, ate very, very little of fruits and vegetables. So for me, I would say instead of completely getting rid of the meat and going all in on vegetables, I'm gonna try to decrease the meat a little bit and try to get more of my protein from vegetables and things like that. So in the documentary, I think they discuss a lot about, the argument is whenever you're vegan, you're less inflamed as an athlete. But the argument with that is whenever you go vegan, you typically just eat healthier in general. Say you just go from a bad diet and then you completely cut out the meat, but you also cut out all these other bad things with your diet, fast food, sweets, and that causes you to be less inflamed. And then pointing at vegan and saying that, well, I'm less inflamed because I went to vegan. Well, it could be because you cleaned up your diet, and that's the cause of you being less inflamed, rather than just completely cutting out meat and dairy. So I would say most of the time it's just a misconception, because you're normally going to eat a healthier diet in general by going vegan. So let's talk about the protein intake a little bit. So whenever I've heard of people going vegan, this was way before I even seen the documentary, I had always had these skepticisms of it. And I always had the mindset of, well, I think you can be vegan, but I think it definitely makes it a lot harder. And I've always had the question of, I just don't know if you're gonna get in enough protein, especially as an athlete, somebody with such a high activity level. In the documentary, they give examples of these professional athletes in pretty much almost all major sports. It kind of makes you think, well, that's why they're performing at that level, or just showing us that you can be a professional athlete and be vegan. While all this stuff is true, the problem becomes then is that there are always exceptions to everything, pretty much. So yeah, you can find these people that are vegan, but what about you find the people that are not vegan? And those are the people that it kind of held them back because they just couldn't gain the muscle mass, or they couldn't get enough BCAAs in, or really just anything like that. So you could do it on the flip side as well if you think about it. But going back to the protein, they talk about a peanut butter sandwich being equivalent to certain protein sources. Whenever I seen that, I had a major issue with that because a peanut butter sandwich, like the protein is going to come from the peanut butter, right? But I don't look at peanut butter as being a protein source. Peanut butter is going to be more of a fat source because it's just got more fat in it. Not only does it not have as much protein in it as what a chicken breast would, it also has way more fat than that chicken breast. Not only would you have to eat a lot more of that peanut butter to get the same amount of protein that's in that chicken breast, you're going to be way overeating on fat, way overeating on calories as well. So it just doesn't make sense to compare those two. I just look at things as sources, and plus you're adding bread to that, which we all know is not going to be the best source of carbs, that's for sure. And then peanut butter, to me, peanut butter is not a protein source. That's a fat source. Whenever you're vegan and you need, you know, especially if you got a super high metabolism, it's going to be so hard to put on the muscle mass that you need to eat enough calories. It's just gonna take a lot more, put a lot more on your table, and to me, I just don't think it's necessary. So there's a lot to take in with this. My final thoughts, I think it's unnecessary to go to vegan. I think you just need to worry about cleaning up your diet, making better choices, have leaner meats, things like that. To say that completely getting rid of meats and dairy is the reason behind some of these guys' success just doesn't make sense to me. So I think if you're somebody that's just got your heart set on being vegan and there's nothing really that's going to change your mind, and you're an athlete and you perform as an athlete, this documentary showed you that it is possible. It can be done. To me, it just lowers your chances. That's the way I see it. I try to teach people to do everything you can to increase your chances. So I just don't think it's a smart thing to decrease your chances of doing something special as an athlete. Make sure to jump in the comments and have a little discussion, a little debate about this topic. But I hope this video was helpful for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss a single video, and I'll see you guys next time.